You feel unseen because you're not showing yourself to others. I spent most of my teenage years, a lot of my 20s, feeling this underlying sense of being alone, of loneliness, a sadness that I couldn't quite put my finger on. It began as a teenager. I remember having quite a few friends, and yet not a real deep sense of connection. I would laugh and smile, but it just felt like I wasn't really there. With the exception of one or two friends, where for a period of time I felt, wow, this deep, deep connection. But then it ended, and the loneliness returned. What I've discovered is that feeling of loneliness. It's there because I'm feeling unseen. I'm feeling unseen because I'm having my own inner experience that it seems like no one else is connecting to, that no one else can see. You know, the rate of suicide for men is really high. And I think a lot of it comes down to being unseen. So simple, but deep, profound friendship and connection, community, conversation, even things like this video, where for a moment you might feel a sense of resonance. It's so important for our well-being. What I've discovered is that loneliness and that feeling of being unseen is because I'm not showing myself. If I'm sitting with a feeling, sitting in a state, and I'm in conversation, and someone is not acknowledging it, is not recognizing it, it creates this sense of being invisible. How do they not see my pain, my suffering? We just want someone to reach out and hold us and tell us it'll be okay and be with us in that feeling, in that pain. But so often conversations move at 1,000 miles an hour. They're superficial, they're full of thought. Very often people try to problem solve. I remember listening into my parents' conversations at a young age, and I clued into this. My mom would share something that was troubling her, and my dad would immediately try to fix it. Ooh, have you tried this? Why don't you do that? Or maybe some blaming in there as well. Well, why did you do it that way? Very typical male response. And it creates that sense of disconnection, that sense of not being seen. Because we want to be in that feeling together. We can't actually take that feeling away, nor should we. This is about doing our own internal work and making friends and being in love with ourselves. So what I've been exploring is, how can I tend to that inner child, the one that feels unseen? And there are two ways I've explored. The first is seeing myself, because very often we'll ignore what's actually going on in our bodies. Maybe we'll distract ourselves with Instagram or TikTok or thought. Maybe we'll deny what we're feeling. Maybe we'll use the same tactics that we saw our parents using. We'll try and fix ourselves. Oh, you should wake up earlier. You should message your friends. You should do X, Y, Z. Two things that I've just revealed definitely go on in my world. That's what I tell myself very often. But we can just be with the feeling, tend to it, because it's just calling out for love. It's just calling out for acknowledgement. We can see ourselves. This is how people can be in solitude and not feel alone. And it's also how someone can be surrounded by a huge group and feel invisible. We can acknowledge what's going on in our world. But there's a second aspect for me as well. And that is, I can share my inner world. Rather than expecting someone to be an empath, to be a mind reader, and feeling frustrated because they're just not getting it. Why are they talking at me about all this stuff? Why am I pretending that it's all fine when deep down I'm feeling this hurt or sadness or grief or whatever it might be? I can just call it out. Hey, I'm feeling this right now. Can we talk about it? Or even just in the very act of sharing it, very often I find the feeling dissipates. You know, it's interesting. At the very start of meeting someone, we have this social cue, right? Hey, how you doing? How you feeling? And our immediate response is reflexive. I'm good, or I'm not so bad. I'm all right. How are you? There's no moment there to really slow down and check in with our bodies and question, well, how am I actually feeling? And then actually share that with the other person. It's as if we have this social dynamic there at the very start of a conversation that, if used properly, could bring us to the same level, create that sense of connection. Oh, wow, you're feeling really stressed today because you've had a project that you're delayed on finishing. Wow, let me acknowledge that, rather than trying to pretend that everything is okay and we'll have this normal conversation of chit-chat, which just creates this sense of being unseen, of being disconnected, because you're lying to yourself, you're lying to the other person. Things are not okay. And that's okay. Yeah. I think that's all I have to share on that. You know, if you like that video, if you found it helpful, please do follow, subscribe, share, and leave a comment below. Call out how you're feeling. Let's build some community. I love reading the comments. All right. I'll catch you later.